Hi, I am Saptarshi and I welcome you to this new episode where I will be walking you through on how to integrate a Cognito based API authorizer to an existing API gateway. So in the first step, we will be verifying whether there is any active resources or active APIs on our API gateway. As you can see on the screen, the resources shows there is no active APIs created as of now. Now, I will go to the next step. In the next step, we are going to be identifying the spot in our project structure to see where we are going to be writing our code changes. Let's quickly recap the folder structure. As you can see, the resources directory is basically meant for placing the infrastructure related code, and the APIs directory holds the definitions for the API stack. Now there is a file called serverless.yaml file within APIs directory that is responsible for the creation of the API stack. Now on the next step, we will figure out where within that serverless.yaml file that we identified on step 2, we can place the API gateway connections. As you can see on the screen, API gateway is placed within the provider section of the serverless.yaml file. And on this step number 4, we will identify where within the events.yaml file we can place the authorizer for our API. Let's have a look. Right now you are seeing the events.yaml file, and here after the core section we have placed the Cognito authorizer declaration. In order to verify that there is no method or API resources currently existing on our API gateway, what we are supposed to do is open up the API gateway first. So I have opened my API gateway, and if I click on the resources here, I see none of them existing. Next, we are going to be updating the serverless.yaml file of the APIs directory. We are now inside the provider section, and here first I will add a comment and I will say connect the root API that was created by the or from the API-main stack. Okay, so now I will move on to writing the API gateway section here. Let me first maximize my window for having more space while I'm writing. So first I will write the serverless property called API gateway. An API gateway is going to have two child elements. One is the REST API ID, and after that, REST API root resource ID. So if you remember from the last episode that we had already created the REST API ID and the REST API root resource ID, and we are going to find it within the API main stack of the resources directory. So I have opened API main.yaml, and exactly under the outputs section I have the export name of the REST API ID. So I am going to copy this and paste it on REST API ID first. After that, I will copy the REST API root resource ID, and here it is again from API main.yaml. I will take this and I will paste it on my API stacks serverless.yaml file. Perfect. Now I should be actually appending fn import value before this strings. So I would say in single quote fn import value and then colon. So fn import value. We are doing import value because as we are already exporting this from another stack. So if an import value is done, I will copy the same import if an import value for REST API root resource ID as well. and I'll have to separate by a tab. Okay, this looks good. Next, let's try to deploy this API stack. So I am here in this directory where the serverless.yaml file exists, but the API name was not present on the serverless.yaml file of the API stack. Therefore, I am going to copy and paste from the resources directory, and after that, I will run the Sls Deploy command again. After running the Sls Deploy on my console, I can see that backend API's dev is create in progress, which means that right now it is trying to deploy the list nodes API. Now, what list nodes API is going to do? It is basically going to deploy the /nodes API present on the events.yaml file on our root API gateway. The stack is still running, therefore we'll have to wait for a few more seconds until the stack finishes. So let's do a refresh and we can see that the stack has finished the deployment. Let's quickly go over to our API gateway console and verify if the APIs are present now. I will refresh the page and we are seeing that Nodes API has been created. However, the authorization is still none, which means that right on the next step, we are going to be applying Cognito user pools authorization on this particular API. But let's first verify if this endpoint is giving a result, as there is no authorization currently. So I will open the API on a new tab and refresh, and then I will see that it is returning me this particular data. What I can also do is that I can run the curl command on this particular API and see that this API is returning me data. So let's add the code for applying Cognito user pools authorization. The Cognito user pool authorization begins by writing an authorizer block. So I have written authorizer block and now I will declare type, which is Cognito underscore user underscore pools. Next, I will declare Authorizer ID. Now for Authorizer ID, it would be a fn import value. So I would say fn :import value, and this import value would actually come from the API authorizer stack that we defined in the last episode. So I will move over to API authorizer and copy the export name, and then I will paste it on my events.yaml file. So this completes the authorizer ID declaration. Now I want to just save this and quickly do a Sls deploy and verify if my /nodes API gets secured after the stack has updated. So the stack is now update in progress. So I will move over to the API gateway and wait for a few more seconds and then do a refresh. The stack is still running as it is update in progress and it just got finished now. Therefore, if I just do a refresh here, the none should get changed to Cognito user pools. And yes, that is what we get there. So if I just do a curl, I should see unauthorized. And the same would be happening if I do a refresh on the previously opened page where I was getting the response. Yes, exactly, that's what we get. Which means that now our API is authorized by the Cognito user pools. So it will only give access to users who are authorized by the Cognito user pool.